Thank you everyone for joining us today. This is the Coffee and Blue Jeans Events training. It is a very simple, low-level training. It's for beginners. So we're going to teach you everything you need to know about how to use the platform, all of the different controls and different scenarios and best practices. So I am one of your hostesses, Latanya Walker, and I will be going over the first part of your presentation. We also have Michelle Dixon on the line. She's going to be in the chat for now, but then later she's going to step forward and do the second part of this presentation. And as she mentioned, if you have any questions or comments, just enter them in the chat and we'll get them taken care of. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to look at our agenda first so you know what to expect. We'll talk about before an event. We'll talk about pre-scheduling details, how to actually schedule that event, and then we'll go over some post-scheduling suggestions for you. We'll look at during an event. We'll look at your dashboards, your moderator, your presenter, and attendee dashboard. That's going to be showing all of the controls that are available for each of those levels. And then we'll talk about after an event. We'll tell you how to access your recordings and the things that come with that. We'll leave you with some online resources, and we'll tell you about our Event Assist program should you choose to use it. So let's go over some of our key features. You know, why BlueJeans Events? Well, first we have large-scale large-scale event support. You can have up to 15,000 participants in your meeting. You can also stream to Facebook Live, giving you the opportunity to have actually millions more view your event. We have device agnostic. That simply means that we are very compatible. So you can join from any video-enabled room, computer, or mobile device, and you actually do not have to download the app to do so. We have numerous moderator controls to help you with your event, and they're very easy to use, as you'll see. And we have numerous audience engagement tools, such as question and answering. We also have a raise hand feature that we'll show you about, and you can actually even create polls for your event to capture data. And we have event cloud recording for your event so you can play back later and share with others. So let's look at before an event. We'll talk about pre-scheduling first. So we really just want you to consider some details about your event, right? You really want to give it some thought. The first thing is your event date or dates. Is this a one-time event, or will you make it a recurrent event? Or maybe you haven't even decided yet, but please consider it. Your broadcast time and duration. What time is your broadcast actually going to start, and how long will you actually have that curtain up? Your location. Being that this is a virtual event, a lot of times people don't think to consider the environment in which they'll be hosting this virtual event. So are you going to host it in your apartment? You know, are you going to be in the office? Or maybe you even need to rent out a room or facility to do such. And with that, your presenters, are they all going to be in one location, or will they be in separate locations? So think about that as well. And then we'll look at our participants. Who will your participants be? Who's presenting the information, and who are they presenting it to? Is this event going to be private or public? If it is public, are you going to require registration? And also your audience interaction. What are you trying to get from them? What type of experience are you trying to create? Let's look at our participants a little deeper. So if we think of this in terms of as a stage play, all right, your moderators will be like your producers or your directors. They're behind the scenes. They got everything taken care of. They have full control of the event. Now, your presenters are going to be your actors, so to speak. They'll be presenting information. They may be sharing video or a PowerPoint, and they may even be answering questions from your audience if that's something that you have going on. And your attendees is your audience. They're in the look and listen mode. They're sitting back, you know, just watching everything go on. They are not part of the play. They're just absorbing what you're giving them. So think about that. So let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to schedule this event now that we've considered some of those details and our participants. First thing you would need to do is log into your BlueJeans account. You'll go to bluejeans.com/scheduling. You'll log in with your username or email address and password, and we do have that forgot password link for you. Now, if your company uses single sign-on, then your company's network credentials will match your BlueJeans login information. And being with single sign-on, if you forget your password, we'll have to contact your IT department to get that reset. So let's say we're all logged in. It's going to bring you to this screen. Now, what you'll do is go to this second tab here and click on it. It says Events. Then you'll click Schedule Event. It's going to bring up a details form for you to fill out. You'll enter your event name or title. There's an optional box here, big, so you can put a nice description of your event if you choose. Below there, you'll need to put your date and your time and duration of your event. If you've decided that this is a recurring event, simply click this repeat event mark box here, and then more information will populate so that you can actually choose how and when you want this event to repeat. Then you hit continue. It's going to take you to another page. This is where you select the type of event, whether it's going to be public or private or restricted. If it is public, then you do have the option to require registration. We'll go through that registration form later. You'll actually complete that after the event is scheduled. But below there you see event branding. That's going to be your opening and closing message. We have a default one for you. It's just simply welcome to your event. It will start shortly and thank you at the end. However, you can customize your branding, so your opening and closing message. You can upload a graphic file. Now, it has to be PNG or JPG. If you want text in that message, in that custom message, you'll need to add it to your file before you upload it. You won't be able to do it after, okay? But you can do it before. So once you've done all of that, you'll go on down the page and you'll see settings. Right next to the settings is a drop-down arrow. You click on that drop-down arrow and all of those attendee settings that you have an option to choose will populate for you. The first one is the event chat. This is going to allow your attendees to chat with other participants during your event. I did say during your event. So think about, is that going to be a distraction for you, or if it's something that you want, an engagement tool. Also, attendee search. This is going to allow your attendees to search for other attendees during your event as well. Now, for me, I just want all eyes on me. However, I don't know what type of event you're putting on. Just consider that before the event. Make that decision. You can also allow question and answering as an engagement tool as well. If you do allow question and answering, then you have a couple of options there. You can allow where your participants can ask the questions anonymously. And you can also allow where it auto approves each question. Now, if you do not select this box, then you're actually choosing to have it manually approved, which means every question that comes through, moderator has to look at it and approve it yes, no, or you can hold it for later. And then you can allow auto recording. Now, this is a really nice feature. If you know for sure that you want your event recorded, then please go ahead and select this box, because once you start the broadcast, the recording will automatically start for you. That way, you don't have to worry about forgetting it or remembering it. So you'll go on down the page and you'll see where you can allow phone dial-in. And what that's going to do is allow up to 500 attendees to dial in to your event using their phone. Okay. Now, that is different and separate from the 15,000 that can join from any video-enabled room or conference or computer or mobile device. It's different. But what you need to know here is that on the phone and on the computer, it may not be in sync, just like with any TV or radio broadcast. So there may be up to a 30-second time lapse there. Possibly, not necessarily. The last call we had, a lady did that, and hers actually was in sync, but just be prepared. The next thing you can allow is the raised hand feature. This is a really cool one because, as I said before, your attendees or your audience, they're in a look and listen mode only. Right? You cannot see their video, you cannot hear their microphone or their speaker, you can't hear nothing they're saying. However, if you allow the raise hand feature and they click the button and it allows, if you choose so, it allows them to go into the presenter mode where you can actually see them and hear them for that time. Right? Now, don't worry, after they finish saying whatever they've said, you can demote them back down to the attendee level so that they're not a distraction during your event. So it's a nice feature to have, and you still have full control of the event even if you allow that feature. The next one is to display attendee count. This is going to show the live attendee count to all the attendees during the event, and then you can allow the play welcome music. And it's just a really nice but generic a jazz tune that'll play before your broadcast begins. Once you've made all of those setting selections, you can go ahead and hit schedule, because now you have actually scheduled your event. Congratulations. Now we are going to invite our participants to this event. Now you have your presenters, your moderators, and attendees, right? You will need to invite each role separately, because each role comes with a separate URL, which allows for separate privileges, if you will. For example, we told you that the moderator has complete control of the event. Well, you don't want your attendees to have that same level of control as your moderators. So make sure you invite them under the right title. So we'll go here. The next one is so we're looking at the attendee tab here. This is where you have your manage registration link. So if you have required registration, you will simply click on this link here, manage registration, and it's going to open up a separate form for you. Right below where you see registration link, if you've required registration, then this will be your registration link that you can copy. But if you did not require registration, this will just be a join link. But you also have another link here that says copy attendee info. This is also a join link for you. Now, the reason we have these links that you can copy is because you do not have to use BlueJeans to invite your attendees. You can use whatever favorite calendar tool that you normally use on a day-to-day basis. And all you would simply do is open that calendar tool, create the invite, and once you're ready, copy these links, either one, and paste them into the body of your calendar invite, and then just send it off to your attendees. But of course, you can invite them right here, and here's a box for you to enter those attendee emails, and you just separate it by a comma. Once you've done all that, you simply hit done, and you are done inviting your attendees. But you still need to go back up to the top, click on the moderator tab, invite your moderators, and then go back to the top, click done, then go back to the top and invite your presenters as well. Make sure everyone gets their invite. So let's go ahead and look at this managed registration now that our event is actually scheduled and we've invited all of our participants. So one thing that I did not mention is you can use BlueJeans to manage your registration, but you do not have to. You can use a third party to manage your registration for your event. Now, if you choose to do so, please contact the support so that you can get more information and that you do that properly. But in this example here, we are using BlueJeans to manage this registration. But what we need to do is go down here to this customized registration form link. We'll click on it. And by default, it's going to automatically ask for their name and email. But you get to choose or add up to 10 additional questions for your registration. And for each question, you have the option to make it required that they answer or not. Then we'll go to the approval type. You can automatically approve all registrants. You can choose that. Or you can do auto approve users from a specific domain. For example, if you have made this, well, obviously you've made it public because we're on registration, but for the people in your company, and maybe you guys have a specific domain, you can put their domain here, and everyone with that specific domain would be automatically approved, meaning all the people in your company would be automatically approved, but everyone else without that domain would have to be manually approved. You'd have to sift through them. Or you can choose to just manually approve all. And that's really, up to you depending on the information you're trying to get there. And you can also have email notification. Now, this is a really nice feature to help get your attendee count up. So it's going to send out a reminder, and you have the option either 24 hours in advance, actually it's and or 30 minutes in advance of your event. So you can do both or one of the other. So we've got all that taken care of. Now let us look at or talk about this preparation and our rehearsal. We do want you to be prepared for your event. When your event is successful, BlueJeans is successful. So we encourage you to hold at least one complete rehearsal before your curtain goes up. I mean, have everyone in there that's participating. So all of your moderators and all of your presenters need to be there so they'll know what their specific role is, how long they're supposed to be up, or if they're supposed to be managing the chat or I guess anything that they're supposed to be doing. They need to know when, where, or how they're supposed to be doing it. So please have all hands on deck and hold at least one complete rehearsal. And even still, join the broadcast at least 30 to 60 minutes ahead of time. Don't wait for the last minute because anything can happen. Your microphone could go out or the internet could be sketchy. So be prepared is what we're trying to get at here. A couple of other preparation deals here is that the moderator, well, a moderator has to start the event. Now, you can start it from the event card that's in your BlueJeans site, and you'll just hit the button to join, or you can actually start it from the email invitation. Either one will start that event. Now, your moderators and presenters need to join using either the Chrome browser or the Events app. Now, that's just moderators and presenters. That's because Chrome is the most advanced browser right now, and it just meshes really well with our video and audio. Now, your attendees on using any browser that they want, because remember, they're just in the look and listen. We really don't need their camera and mic. Also, we talked about engagement tools. One of them is creating polls. You can create your polls in advance. Actually, we encourage it because it just helps you to be prepared for the interaction with your audience. So you can create those in advance, and it is a good idea. However, you can create them on the fly during the event. So if you create it in advance, again, you'll go to that event card that's in your BlueJeans site, and you'll go down and you'll see where it says create polls. You'll click on that and it'll walk you through creating your polls. Now, if you create them on the fly, you'll be able to do it from your dashboard. And actually, when Michelle does her demo, she'll show you exactly where and how to do that. And it is okay to start and end your event multiple times before that end duration time that you've put on your details form. So just know that as the moderator, you will receive an email every time that event is ended, and it's going to tell you your event has ended. But it's not over. Don't panic. Don't go into overdrive. Your event isn't over completely. Just that session that was open is ended. It's not actually over and ended completely until the end of that duration time that you specified. And if you have any videos, go ahead and upload those in advance to your BlueJeans site just so that everything is ready to go. You can upload your videos during the event. However, we just don't suggest it. It's not good practice. You don't know and you can't guess how long it's going to take for that video to upload. So just be prepared and upload them in advance. And if you have any presenters that's going to be sharing videos as well, make sure that they do the same, that they upload the videos for themselves. So that's going to do it for my portion of the training. So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, and she's going to take over during an event and go over the dashboards for you.
Thank you, Latea. Now that we have looked at actually getting our event scheduled and underway, we've got some rehearsal under our belt. Let's take a look at the perspective of during the event and the moderator, presenter, and attendees dashboards. So we're going to start off, of course, with the moderator's dashboard, because that's why we're here, to learn how to actually work the events platform. And it is broken down into 3 different panels. On your left-hand side, you'll see your start broadcast and start recording, as well as in the center, any content that's being shared will appear here. And then on the very bottom, you'll see the video layout and settings. In the center, you'll see the information where you can share your screen, as well as be able to share video. And then at the very bottom is going to be your chat, both the group chat as well as the moderator chat. On the right-hand side, you'll see a menu for settings, participants list. You also have the ability to enable and disable video and audio. And at the very bottom is where the moderator is able to control the questions as well as the polls. So let's dive in and take a look at each one of these panels separately. And we'll start off with the left-hand side. And at the very top, in the beginning, when we started the broadcast, there was a brief pause. So what I did was start the broadcast, and because we had it set up to auto record, the system automatically starts the broadcast and then starts the recording. If I do not choose auto recording, then I will have to press both of those buttons. And then in the center panel, again, this is where all my content shows up. So if my presenters are sharing their camera, I will be able to see them there. If they are presenting something, I will see any content that they're sharing here. On the very bottom is my ability to be able to control the video layout and what the attendees actually see. And so by changing the video layouts, let's take a look more specifically at each one of those. First one you have is the active speaker. This will give you a large box of just the person that is speaking, the presenter that is speaking at that time. Active presence allows you to see up to 5 thumbnails, of presenters that are online, and then a large box of the person that is actually sharing their screen. On the very bottom is going to be your constant presence. If you have a panel of speakers, and this will show up to 9 speakers at a time, this will allow everyone to be able to see all of your presenters. When we move ourselves over into the center panel of the moderator's controls, then what we'll see is our content sharing. And under content sharing, you'll notice at the very top, when it is expanded, you'll be able to share your screen and or share video. An important feature or important note here is that if the moderator is going to be in charge of sharing video, then they will want to make sure that they upload that video. And if the presenter is going to share video, then the presenter needs to make sure that they upload the video. However, for the moderator's controls, this is where you would share your screen and also be able to share any video that you've already previously uploaded. As Latea mentioned earlier, it is always a great idea that you upload your video prior to the event taking place. At the very bottom of that same panel is where your chat resides. So when the share screen is maximized, then the chat is minimized. And when the chat is maximized, the share screen is minimized. So once you open up your chat, you have 2 different types of chats. The first one is going to be your everyone chat, which means anyone on the call can participate and see the information that appears here. And then you have your private or your moderator chat, which allows anyone on the call to have a private chat with just the moderator. This is the moderator's ability to be able to help in the background and to make sure that things are running smoothly or help anyone that's having any type of technical issue, and a great way for the moderator to be able to prompt and communicate with their presenters to let them know they're up next, that kind of thing. The other thing to mention is that the moderator chat is always present and on, whereas with the everyone chat, that one is you decide whether or not that feature is available during the course of your event. Now, if we move over to our right-hand panel, at the very top, you have your menu button, which gives me the information that I can access join information. Now, why that's important is if someone accidentally gets the wrong join information, they've been invited to our event the wrong way. So if one of your presenters actually has an attendee instead of a presenter link, then what you can easily do is go here, click on the join information. It will pull up that tab that we originally saw when you were scheduling your event and inviting your attendee, inviting your different roles. And you can quickly copy the join information and send it off to them. Just below that is going to be announcements. Announcements is a great way for you to interact with your attendees to spur on participation. So if you send out a poll, you can send them an announcement that says, hey, this poll is closing in 30 seconds. Make sure you get your vote in. And then the settings, of course, allows you to control your own personal audio and video input and output. And then just below that is going to be your participants tabs. This is broken down into 2 different tabs. You have the participants you have your presenters tab, which allows you to be able to pin a presenter to the screen, meaning that if you have one that you want to make sure that their video is always on top, like you have a high profile person on a call for all hands meeting, then you would want to go ahead and pin their video so that their video stays on top no matter who's talking. You also can initiate moderator chat with that person. You can check their connection details. You can tell how they're joined and whether or not they are receiving audio and video. You can also block their ability to share content or to be able to speak. This is important if you have multiple presenters on a call and you want to make sure that after a presenter is done presenting that they can no longer interfere in the event. You can go ahead and disable their ability to be able to share content and or block their audio and video. You can also demote a presenter all the way down to an attendee where all they can do is just sit back and listen, or you can drop them from the event altogether. This is what the tab looks like, and you'll see that the presenter is on the left-hand side. And if you click on the right-hand side, which is the attendees tab, then what you'll have the ability to do is access a list of all your attendees. You can pin them to the screen only if you've allowed them with the raise hand feature to be promoted up to be seen and heard. You can also initiate moderator chat. You can check their connection details as well. You can drop them from the event, or you can send out an announcement. When we look at the very bottom of the moderator dashboard, this is where all of my interactive tools are. And so this allows me to be able to send out or actually address questions that attendees have sent in. If I've set up for manual approval, then this is where I would go to access the questions as they're coming in to go ahead and manually approve them. Just remember that if you are going to have manual approval, then you want to make sure that you have at least 2 moderators on the call, so that one is designated to the approval of questions. I'm sorry, you guys are having a tough time this morning. To the approval of questions, as well as one that is going to moderate and make sure that the background is going smoothly. Next is going to be if you want to send out any polls or filter any questions, then what you can do is set those up. You can filter them by likes. You can also sort them by the time that they came in, your choice. And then you can use the settings to set up questions as auto approve or require the moderator to manually approve. So you can even do that on the fly. Next is going to be your polls. And so you can send out polls. You can have those pre-done if you want. If you've set up polls prior to the event taking place, then you can just start them as you go. But you can also create polls on the fly. And it was so simple and easy to do by simply clicking on create poll. The system will then allow you to enter into a question. And then once you enter the question in, then you can set up to have minimum of 2 options, but you can have up to 6. And then once you've made your choices, go ahead and click on create poll, and the system will then, you'll see here on the left-hand side what the poll looks like after it's created. If you created the polls in advance, you'll just see the poll sitting there ready to go. And just remember that polls can only run 1 at a time. So you're going to start your first poll, wait for the information to come in. You'll see here in the center is what the poll information looks like as it is being, as they are putting in their information. This is the live view. And on the right-hand side is what your participants, as well as your attendees, as well as your presenters will see from their end. They also will see the poll as it happens in real time. Once you're done with the poll, you can then go ahead and click in the poll, and the system will automatically store that information for you. And we'll talk about how you can access that at the end. Now, before I move into taking a look at the presenter's dashboard, what I'd actually like to do is go ahead and take the opportunity to show you what the moderator's dashboard looks like in real time. And so this is the current event that we are in right now. So at the top, there was pretty good depiction of what the screen actually looks like. So I have my start broadcast button. I also have the ability to stop and start the recording. And then I also have my duration clock. So let me make a differentiation really quick here. If I stop the broadcast, then the attendees on their side will no longer be able to see any content. They will only see, if I've already started the broadcast, they will only then see the thank you message at the end. If I start and stop the recording, however, that does not stop the broadcast. That just stops the recording portion, and we'll set up what we call chapters, so you can have smaller recordings of different various parts of your event should you want to. In the center here on my left-hand side, because I am sharing my screen with you, then I cannot see any content that's being shown. But if someone else was sharing their screen, all the content would then show up here on my left-hand side. On the very bottom is the ability to change the view. And when I change the view here, this changes the view for the attendees who do not have control over how they view the event itself. Only the moderator does. And here in the center is going to be my content sharing. It allows me to, because I'm already sharing my screen, the only thing I can do here is to stop sharing my screen. I can switch over to share video and any videos that I have uploaded in my cloud. And I'm going to make the distinction one more time here. And that is that if the moderator is going to be in control of showing the videos for the presenter, then the moderator needs to upload the video. If the presenter is going to be responsible for showing their own video, then the presenter needs to upload the video. The reason being is because the uploaded video goes into your own respective private clouds. And so to be able to access them and play them during the course of the event, then you will, either person will have to be in control of that. And then, of course, you have the ability to be able to upload a video. And of course, we suggest that you make sure that you've done that prior to the event taking place. Now, if I click here on the bottom panel, this will then expand my chat, of course, minimizing my share content. I have two different types of chat. I have my everyone chat, as you can see here. I've also taken the liberty of placing a few links that will interest you guys. The first one is going to be a survey that will just simply give us feedback on the content that we shared with you today, as well as our delivery of that content. And we would appreciate it if you take the couple of minutes that it would take. It's literally 6 questions. If you click on the link, it'll take you directly to the survey itself and answer those for us. And then just below is going to be if you would like information on our event assist, which I'll tell you about in a bit. The next one is going to be a preparation and tip checklist that you will want. It will give you all the information that Latea went over earlier in terms of setting up your event. And the last is going to be the event is frequently asked questions about events, which is also very helpful. So feel free to go ahead and copy those links and take a look at that information at a later time. So that is anyone that's on this call is able to see the information that is here. I also have a private chat, and so this came from one of my attendees. It gives me that person's name and the message that they sent. I am then able to go ahead and chat back and forth with them. Now, if I take a look on my right-hand side and take a look at the very top, then what I see is my menu button. This allows me to access the join information. Again, this is the information that you saw when you were originally setting up your event, when you went to invite the different roles. So across the top, I can access the join information for the presenter. I can access the join information for a moderator. If I need to make somebody a moderator very quickly, I can copy that join information and send that off to them in an email, or if they happen to already be in the event, I can send it to them through the private chat. And of course, an attendee. If I click on that button again, I can also send out announcements. I can choose from a template. I can do interactive. I can do question and answers. I can customize and make my own here. Remember that the announcements only go out to the attendees. The presenters on the call do not see the announcements. Next, at the very bottom, of course, is going to be the settings. This will allow me to adjust my own camera, microphone, and speaker. And then lastly here, the center box, is going to be for my different participants tabs. First one is going to be my presenters. This will also show me any of the moderators on the call. The moderators are denoted by the stars that you see next to Latea's name, as well as next to, I thought I changed my name, but okay, next to the training team, which happens to be me. And then what I can also do is if I click on someone's name, and we're going to pick on Diego here today, I can chat with Diego directly. I can check his connection details to see that he is not sharing his camera, but he is able to receive and see video. And I know that he's joined from the browser and he has a pretty strong connection. This is a great way if someone's saying that they're having some type of trouble, that you can go and eliminate this issue first and then move on to user error, which is, we know, usually going to be 99% of the problem. So from there, I can also, if Diego is one of my presenters and he's done his presentation and I want to make sure that he doesn't cause any trouble during the rest of the broadcast, then what I can do is go ahead and block his audio and video and his sharing content, which allows him just to sit back and listen from the presenter standpoint. So maybe later on, he may need to have privileges again. I can just turn those back on. I can just block his sharing content so that he doesn't accidentally share his content while someone else is sharing, but still allow him to be able to be seen on video in a panel sense. If I'm using the panel view, then I'd want him to still be able to be seen, but I just want to make sure he doesn't share. Or I can demote him down to an attendee and drop him out altogether, or I can drop him out altogether. On the very bottom, I also have control where I can mute all of my participants at once, meaning all my presenters at once, or I can unmute them all at one time. On the very bottom, this is where, again, these are my engagement tools. And so let's take a look. It seems that we have a question. And so let's see. The question is, are the fires in California still going? So as the moderator or as the presenter on the call, you or myself, because you guys are presenters on this call, can answer this question. And then you can post the reply. The reply then goes out so that everyone is able to see the answer. Again, you can sort these by times or you can sort them by likes. This is also where I can access my information for the polls. And so by doing so, I can start a poll on the fly, and let's go ahead and start one so that you guys can see what that looks like in real time. And if you go ahead and give an answer, then you'll also see as the information starts to be added in. And so it gives me a vote count. It also allows me to withdraw this poll if I decide at the last moment that this is not really a great one because nobody's responding to it or whatever the reason may be. And then once I've gotten enough answers in, I've left the poll open for a period of time, then this is a great time I can send out an announcement and say, hey, make sure you get your answers in because your information counts, whatever I want to say. And then I can go ahead and end that poll. Once I've ended the poll, then everybody will then see the information and the results of the poll and know that the poll has ended. Another thing I wanted to show you is I also have here on my attendee tab, the one denotes that someone has requested Interact Live to be, this is what we call the raised hand feature. And so I have the ability here to screen this person, which is always a great idea because you want to make sure that you know what they're going to say and what's happening before you actually bring them into your event live where they are able to be seen and heard. So I can chat with them. I can drop them from the meeting if they are just doing that constantly or being a nuisance, or I can accept or deny their request. I'm not going to bring myself up because I've joined on my cell phone and it usually will cause an audio issue at this point. But I just want to show you how simple and easy the features are to kind of manipulate and move around inside of the moderator's control panel. And with no further ado, what I'm going to do is move that out of the way. And I will then show you what the features are on the presenter's dashboard, which is the one that you're currently joined from. And let's take a look. So on the presenter's dashboard here at the very top, I see that they also have a broadcast clock, which is a great thing because this is a great way for the moderator to be able to help sync the event. In order to cue a presenter, you're going to be up in the next minute. They can kind of watch their broadcast so that they can govern when they're supposed to be ready and on cue to start presenting. They also can tell that the recording has started and that the broadcast is live. They can also see the attendee count. And if you take a look at the very bottom of the right-hand side, this is where they can choose what their video layout looks like. So they're choosing the video layout is separate from the controls of the moderator that controls the attendees. So this is just for your own personal view. Now, if we take a look at the very top corner, the top right-hand side of the screen, we'll see this panel that's here. This is where anything that I push on the right-hand side, all the content will then appear here. So I can see my video. Just above that is where I can unmute myself and also turn off and on my camera. And to the right of that is going to be the exit button, which will allow me to leave the event itself. I can also access the participants list. If that has been enabled, I can see the event chat. If that's enabled, I can also always able to contact or chat with the moderator. And then you have your screen sharing. the ability to access the poll information and participate in the polls, as well as to access the questions that are coming through to decide or answer those questions. On the very bottom are your own personal settings for your audio video input. Now let's take a look at the attendees dashboard. Now remember that the attendee only gets to sit back and listen to the event. Earlier, Latia talked about the broadcast being delayed if you have someone that is on the phone, that is on a phone call. If a presenter is on the phone, then there is no delay because they are in real time with the moderator as things are happening. And the attendee is, however, is separated. The attendee cannot even know that anything is going on in the background until after the moderator starts the broadcast. And then everything, all of their content has about a 30-second delay because the system then joins the audio and the video together and then sends out the content as they do in broadcast, cable, and radio. So the attendee, as they receive their information, you'll see on the bottom, they have the ability to control the sound on their side. They can expand their view. So if they don't want to see the question and answer panel, they can expand this view and the content will take up the whole thing. On the right-hand side, they have the ability to, of course, exit the event. They can see the participants list only if you've enabled it, as well as the raised hand in the event chat. If those are enabled, then these buttons are available to them. If they're not, they're grayed out. And then the moderator chat is always available, the polling as it takes place, and the questions, of course, again, if these have been enabled by you when you set up the event. On the very bottom is their ability to access their settings. All right, so let's take a look at the post-event information that you have access to. So first thing you need to know is just like when you were rehearsing, the system sent you an email that said that your event has ended. When you actually end your event, you will receive that very same email, but this time it'll actually be true. And the information that you'll see in that email is you will have a link for the event chat transcripts. You will also have a link for the question and answer transcripts. You'll be able to see the poll reports. You'll also have the event's participants list with their join information and connection stats. If you recorded that event as well, you'll also have a link for the actual recording. And another way to access that same information is if you go back to the events page where you initially scheduled your event. If you look across this top, instead of seeing your upcoming events, your event will have moved itself over to the past events. If you click on the past events tab, the system will allow you to access the card for the event that you want to access the information. By clicking on it, you'll notice that it will expand itself and you'll see at the very bottom the links to all of the recordings, the event chat, the question and answers, and the event polls. And just above, you'll be able to click on view details to see the participants list, join information, and connection stats. So 2 different ways to access that information. And if you need further information, I have included those links, which are great information. You can also make your way over to support.bluejeans.com, which is our support site. And in the top box, which is our knowledge-based article query, if you type in information like events, it'll give you every article that we have regarding BlueJeans events. And you can narrow it down. There's always a summary under each one. Or you can make it a little bit more specific and say events, let's say registration, and then it will give you all the information we have regarding setting up registration for events. In the center, there's also a tile that has events. If you click on that, then it'll give you the broad spectrum of events regarding, a broad spectrum of articles regarding events. The other thing that you can do, there aren't as many for events as there are for meetings, but there are some short video tutorials that you can access, especially under getting started. And then if you click on contact support, you can contact our support team. You can submit a case. You can contact them by phone. My favorite is to use the instant chat, which allows me to instantly chat with them. I fill out the form and then they come online and are able to assist me. But most importantly, if you are putting on an event, you have an upcoming event, we usually ask that you contact the team about 3 weeks or more in advance. The sooner the better. If you go to bluejeans.com then and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, you can click on Event Assist, or you can type in Event Assist under our supports page. It will take you to the link to get to them. It will allow you to fill out a form, and then you can contact the resident experts who do this as a full-time all day long. And there are 3 different levels of Event Assist. You can have them just simply go through the checklist with you and make sure that you have everything set up and ready to go. The second tier is that they will actually set up everything for you and then make sure that you're ready to moderate the meeting. Or the third level is they will set up everything and they will actually moderate the meeting for you. So depending on the event, depending on the magnitude of it, you have 3 different tiers, but I always suggest that you go ahead and contact them, especially for your first event, so that you are set and ready to go and set yourself up to have a successful event. And with that, we'll give you back the last few minutes and wish you well.